Hello Rush Nation, what is happening? Welcome back to the latest in the series of the 5-yard film studies. This video is going to look at one half of the dynamic North Carolina Tar Heels duo, Michael Carter. Previous players covered in the series include Zach Wilson and Kyle Pitts, so have a look on the 5-yard YouTube channel to find their film study sessions. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. There is plenty of other content released regularly. So let's get to Carter. His pro day measurements from the 29th of March has his height as 5'7" and 7/8 of an inch, so nearly 5'8", and his weight came in at 201 pounds. Over his 4 years at the Tar Heels, he played 43 regular season games, and each season saw his involvement in the offense rise steadily. And it was no coincidence that his best year was also North Carolina's best year as well. His performances helped the Tar Heels to their best regular season finish since he joined as a freshman. So what are some things that I like about Michael Carter? First of all, his speed and agility can help him find running channels and help him cut through defenses on both running and pass catching plays. Secondly, he has a shrewd awareness of using his blockers, both the linemen and other offensive players on the field, and combining this with his agility, that helps him advance the ball those extra yards. Thirdly, he is a committed team player. He is willing to throw himself into pass blocking and run blocking. To borrow a famous American football phrase, he's mobile, agile, and hostile. We're also going to have a look at Carter's development of his pass catching game, because I believe it did improve over the course of the 2020 season, and we'll get to see some clips of that as well. What could be considered a drawback in Carter's game at the moment? Well, he might be committed to making those pass blocking and run blocking moves, but it's his ability to stop those defenders that could be considered a drawback, and we will come to that later in the video. So let's take a look at what I believe Michael Carter's strengths are first. First of all, he is agile. He has such quick feet, and the turns that he can make at the speed he goes at make it virtually impossible to stop him once he gets into his groove. This clip is just one example of how quickly he can change that direction. Here, North Carolina are in the first game against Syracuse. They're in their own 35. It's 1st and 10, and it's the second quarter. Carter's lined up in the shotgun next to his quarterback, Sam Howell. Carter's going to take the handoff from Howell, and he's going to move in front of him and sweep his run to the right around the outside. It's going to go in this direction. So as we stop it here, we can see that there are several defenders who are moving over to the sidelines to stop his run. And for some, this would have been enough. A 5-yard gain, that would have been a good return on first down. But Carter isn't done, and he is looking in this direction. He's turned his head, looking for that next channel. And then he cuts inside, and his feet work just as fast as his sprint. Commentary does describe it as a stutter step, but there is no stutter there. Let's have a look at the clip now. The play ends up picking up an extra 15 yards, and Carter does get tackled on the 48 here by 2 defenders, but he finally gets taken down on the 45. There are plenty of examples of this happening throughout Carter's senior year. In this next clip, the 2-0 North Carolina Tar Heels are up against Virginia Tech, who are also 2-0. It's 1st and 10. They're still in the first period, and they're on their opponent's 20-yard line. Michael Carter is the only back in position, again next to Howell. After the snap here, the guard, highlighted here, is going to move across to the right to start run blocking. Carter's going to take a few steps to survey the field and then use the advancing lineman to help him make a cut through the line into the secondary. If we stop it there, unfortunately for Carter, the guard's opposing linebacker has dodged the block, and he gets a clean opportunity to tackle Carter after just 5 yards. And this is the tackler here. As you can see, he's down on the floor now. That's because Carter's agility has taken him out of the tackle. Those quick feet help him throw off another defender's tackling, this defender here, before he gets taken down on the 5-yard line. From the first missed tackle to being taken down, Carter picks up another 9 yards. Pretty good play. Now we move on to another clip, a third clip, and this is from Carter's last regular season game against Miami. And if you look at the stats, both Carter and his partner Javonte Williams exploded in this game. This clip shows Carter scoring a touchdown at the end of the first quarter, and North Carolina, as you can see, are already 14-3 up. It's 1st and 10, and the Tar Heels are on their own 35-yard line. Again, Carter does a soul back, and as soon as he takes the snap, we can see that 2 players break through the offensive line and are closing in. 1, 2. Without hesitating, Carter's going to step around his linemen and find his lane and stampede through the line. As we'll see, defenders can't adjust their runs quickly enough. So we've already seen 1 defender, 2 defenders not being able to adjust their run because of how fast Carter's broken through that line. If we stop it here a little bit further on, we have got a defender here who is hoping to close down Carter. And this is also going to show a really good example of Carter using the awareness of his blockers. He's going to swerve around to the right here and use the blocker on the outside, using that agility at speed to avoid the tackle and hit that sideline for his touchdown. And then all it takes is that speed to make sure he gets into that end zone. This next clip is another good example of Carter's awareness of his downfield blockers. This is later on in the Miami game, and as we can see, the Tar Heels are well ahead of Miami at this point. We're approaching the end of the third quarter. It's 3rd and 9 and the opponent's 14, and again, Carter's the sole back alongside his quarterback. The opposing defense is already fairly compact. The linebackers are pressing hard to the left, and there is some distance to go. Carter is going to get handed the ball, and he's going to run to the left, and a defender is going to come and meet him several yards in front of the first down marker. So this is the way that the run is going to go. As we can see here, there's not a lot of space to go. This defender seems to be tracking Carter fairly well and should be in a good position to stop him. Instead, what Carter's going to do is he's going to cut towards his blocking wide receiver, and he's going to go behind him in that direction there. There's not a lot of space, but he will use that small space between the blocker and the sideline to put an obstacle between him and that defender, who can now only tackle him once he's past that first down marker. So that was a really sharp cut, but that was enough for him to get around the outside, make sure he got those extra yards, and get the next first down for North Carolina. This could be very important when it comes to whichever team he goes to, getting those vital first downs, especially if he goes in as a backup or as part of a committee, could go some way into cementing his name as a person that the team can turn to. Another aspect of Carter's game that has definitely improved over the 2020 season is his pass catching. 2020 saw Carter's highest receiving yards in the year with 25 receptions from 30 targets. Most of these were sideways passes, but occasionally Carter did stray beyond the line of scrimmage in a receiving role. And what we're going to see now is 2 clips that might show the development of those kinds of passes. This clip is from Carter's third game of the season against Virginia Tech. It's 3rd and 4 on North Carolina's 32-yard line, or more or less. Carter's going to move into the space to the left, and he's going to move into looking for a pass catching opportunity. So from what we can see here, there's plenty of space. There's nobody within 5 yards of him. It's an incompletion, and there's not really any excuse for the drop. He's looking at the ball. Perhaps he turns too quickly, thinking he has it in his hands. Let's have a look at this next clip. We're going to fast forward 5 games later to a game against Wake Forest. It's 2nd and 12. North Carolina are behind at the start of the 4th quarter. It's a crucial play to get the Tar Heels back into the game. Carter is going to not just stay on the lateral for Howell to pass to. He's going to make a wheel route down the right-hand side in this direction here. Down that sideline there. Howell is under pressure when throwing, but we will see Carter sprint past the defender and catch the ball on the sidelines whilst on the move. The catch does seem a little bit contested as well. There's a good opportunity for the defender to try and catch it while the ball's in the air. This play is a world of difference compared to the previous play, so let's play the clip. And as you can see, once he's got that ball, he's catching it on the run, still going at a fairly impressive speed, and then just gets himself down the sideline to get into the end zone for one of his 2 receiving touchdowns of the year. So in comparing those 2 clips, Carter does look a lot more comfortable in catching the ball on the run. He seems to be a lot more prepared for when the ball gets to him, and then he turns and hits that sidelines compared to the first clip. It does show what 5 weeks of training and games can do, just getting someone settled down and doing well in that area. And this is something that NFL teams should really consider when looking at Carter, is that he can make improvements over that short space of time. I think Carter could be a vital component of any pass catching offense, as well as using that speed to make those darting, agile runs. Something else that I think that Carter does really well with, or something that I commend him for, is that he is willing to commit to explicit run blocking and pass blocking. And this element of his game will be important to develop so that he stays in the field when he isn't being used as an option in the run game or the pass game. In this clip, North Carolina are on their opponent's 45. It's 1st and 10, and Carter is once again the sole back alongside his quarterback. Wide receiver Dazz Newsome, who's highlighted here, is going to be making an end-around run around to the right this way. And Carter is going to become the lead blocker. He's going to head slightly in front and intercept an oncoming defender. Let's see what happens. So the block is okay. Carter does manage to stop the defender from making the tackle, and that does give Newsome that extra room and that extra time to make the run around to the right and get that extra yardage. He's not going to quite make the first down marker, but on the first down, getting 8 yards is going to put the Tar Heels in a very, very good position. There we go. So he managed to get out just 2 yards short, but still a very decent run. So when Carter has got momentum on his side, he can do a decent job. However, this next clip does highlight a drawback of this aspect of Carter's game, his actual ability to deal with oncoming runners when he stood still and the opponent is moving. The Tar Heels are facing the undefeated Notre Dame, and they have been pinned back inside their own half on the 17-yard line. Carter is once against the sole back, and the wide receiving options are lined out 2 on each side, so it's almost as if they're telegraphing a pass play. However, Dazz Newsome, like he did in the last clip, is going to make an end-around run around the outside. This is a fake, And Carter is also going to fake a handoff from Howell as well. But ultimately, this will be a pass play. However, the two linebackers who are waiting behind the line are also expecting the pass play and are going to use this opportunity to make the blitz through the middle. Let's see what happens when Carter steps up here. He's going to move from here. He's going to step up here. Let's see what happens when he has to deal with an oncoming blitzer. Carter gets steamrolled by the linebacker. He gets pushed back, and the space that was between him and Howell shrinks to virtually nothing. Howell has to make evasive maneuvers to get out of the way of being hit by Carter and his linebacker. And unfortunately, his evasive maneuvers take him into the line of the other rushing linebacker, who brings him down. And as well as 35, who Carter was blocking, they take him down for a sack. This next clip sees Carter do a little bit better with his protection. The team have an important 3rd and 4 on their own 26. So again, they're back inside their own half, and Carter is the sole back once again. As the play starts, Carter is going to move inside the pocket here to provide that protection behind the line. And he does seem to have an original target, who is this middle linebacker here. However, the linebacker does get held up at the line, and instead, this rusher on the edge is the one that seems to be the biggest threat. So Carter has identified that the rusher is coming around the outside, and he's moved himself to get into position and create that block for Howell to have the time to make the pass. Unfortunately, someone else has broken through the line here as well, and that's going to cause a bit of trouble for Howell, and he has to make evasive action. Luckily for him, Carter's block does create a little bit of space for Howell to be able to move out between here and get into the open field to the left. As Howell makes the break out to the left, one of the defensive players breaks off from the lineman and drags him down before even the line of scrimmage. Bearing in mind that sacks were not uncommon for North Carolina in 2020, and as we've seen through a few clips already, oncoming defenders found their way through the offensive line quite often. Sam Howell was sacked 33 times in 2020 and 36 times the year before, which was quite high in the college football game. There will be ways of helping Carter develop this area of his game, but as it stands, teams may hesitate to take a chance on Carter in early games unless he can learn to defend against these kind of blitz plays. So let's move on to looking at Carter's potential draft position. Many predictions have Carter being taken in day 2 of the draft, and I'm inclined to agree with those projections. He has had a barnstormer of a 2020 season, I think we can all agree. But as we've seen in those last few clips, some of his aspects of his game could still be seen as a risk. And I think there are other running backs who can offer more of a strength-based running game compared to his speed-based running game. And there are others who won't need as much development in pass protection. I imagine that anyone who takes him will have been entranced by his speed and his agility and will need it for a scheme, potentially in the pass catching side of things. So who's going to be the one to take him, and how do you think he will do in his rookie season? Those are two very important questions. Let us know in the comment section below, and while you're there, let us know what you think about the video. This was my first time analysing college tape for 5 Yard Rush, so any feedback is appreciated. There we have it, Rush Nation. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out all the content on 5yardrush.co.uk as well. See you next time. And until then, keep rushing.